Hey guys, how's everybody doing? It's been a while since I've come to you from my 2017 Airstream Interstate Grand Tour, EXT, and finally had the chance to take it out after work. This weekend, I'm at one of my local state parks and wanted to just bring you guys up to date and show you around a little bit since it's been a while that I've had you inside the interstate. I hadn't shown you before how I arranged the rear sofa to sleep, and I know I've talked about the comfort of the sofa before. When you lay this all the way down, you do still have some, in my opinion, some bumps in how this section right here, the seam kind of creates a bump. So what I do to help try and overcome that is add about an 1.5 inch or so memory topper. In my opinion, I could stand something even thicker. And what I do when I'm not using it is roll the memory foam topper up. It's just a single size topper, and I store it here in the cabinet above. So on top of the memory foam topper, I use a Comfort Cloud sleeping bag from Coleman, and the Comfort Cloud is unique in that you can't really see, but there's actually a memory foam topper here built inside of the bottom of the sleeping bag that you can actually unzip and remove if you need to clean the sleeping bag. What I like about this sleeping bag is that it's pretty wide, and up top they actually have what they call a cozy cuff, the area that when you pull the sleeping bag up near your neck, it's a very soft, velvety feel fabric, so it's not your cold material of the sleeping bag that you have up around your neck. So it does make for a very comfortable sleeping bag. But as you can see, I keep the sleeping bag and the memory foam topper here, and then this still allows me to have a walkway here in the middle of the two side fold-down chairs on either side. Now, if someone else is sleeping in the van as well, then they would also have their sleeping bag on this side, and typically I'm able to leave the center aisle open so that you're still able to walk through right there. And then this cushion would just stay the same, and the sleeping bag would go here, so we still have an aisle in between. So hopefully that gives you a little insight as to how I arrange for sleeping. And I do put down these arms or extensions on the back so that when the sofa is folded down, let me go ahead and fold it down for you. Let me straighten that up. Alright, so that kind of got wedged in there. But now when it's all the way down, at least you can see you've got a great spot for your pillow on the back. And then your sleeping bag fits. Now normally I forgot one of my extra pillows, so this one I keep here in the van. I forgot at home the pillow that I usually put on top of that, because what happens by the time you add the memory foam topper, you can see how there's kind of an elevation discrepancy there, so you've got to kind of build that up a bit so that your head is sleeping fairly level. So that kind of makes it level, and then I need one more pillow on top of that. I wanted to share with you guys where I've been bringing my coffee machine and storing it when I'm in the Airstream Interstate. So in the Grand Tour, to the right side of the refrigerator, you have a wardrobe storage area, which I haven't really gone on long enough trips to really need it for a wardrobe. And to make it a wardrobe, you would simply remove these shelves here, and you have some storage shelves below. By removing these shelves, there's actually a light, if I can turn it on, and a rod that you would be able to hang hangers and clothes. So what I've done, if you've seen my other videos on the Breville Creatista Plus that I've gone ahead and brought that, and I store it here in the drawer, and I've got a towel just to prevent any water spills during transit. And the great feature is that you can slide it out. I actually have it plugged in. Can't really see back there, but there's an extension cord that runs around. It's a little dark. Runs around and comes out the cabinet and plugs in the wall there. And so that way it allows me to free up counter space and have a very easily accessible area for the Nespresso. Wanted to share with you these great inexpensive dollar dehumidifying units that I found at the local dollar store, and these are great to help remove any moisture here in the Airstream Interstate during storage. And as you can see, they are fairly full. Now what happens as the air conditioning is on in the Interstate, the liquid portion becomes solid. As it warms up, it will liquefy again. But more than likely, since I've had these in use for about the past month, it's time to go ahead and throw these out, purchase new ones. And I'll typically keep one in the wet bath. I'll keep one in each the refrigerator and freezer location, which during storage, always keep the doors to your refrigerator and freezer open so that they don't mold and mildew, and that it helps those cavities circulate air. And then I'll usually keep another one out on the countertop. But they've been great at helping eliminate moisture during storage, and again are fairly inexpensive. I've talked a little bit about the AccuBrite wireless temperature sensors that I use in my 2017 Airstream Interstate Grand Tour, and they work extremely well. They have magnets on the back so that if there was something magnetic here in the RV, you could actually attach this. I haven't found any location in the RV worth attaching this to, so I generally just keep it in the drawer, or while I'm camping I keep it out on the countertop. But it's fantastic because you can set an alarm for both. So if it does reach a certain temperature, the alarm will sound, letting you know to pay attention, that there's an issue. The AccuBrite does come with two wireless transmitters. One is located in the refrigerator and one in the freezer. They both look the same and take AA batteries. I'll have a link in the description below if you'd like to purchase this unit. It is available on Amazon.com. So I thought it was interesting when I arrived at the campground yesterday, right around 5 o'clock. Usually the campground office closes at about 6. I've camped here multiple times. It's local to where I live and within 30 minutes or so, so it's pretty easy to get here. And wanted to go ahead and just make it a quick, easy weekend. Try to get out and about, walk around a little bit, and be healthy. And I thought it was interesting because check-in is up until 6 o'clock, and generally, if you're arriving after 6, I'll call in and let the office know. Got to the office a few minutes after 5. The doors were locked. There were still cars in the parking lot, but all the doors were locked. And I thought it was a little odd that they were already closed. Couldn't find anybody. So I went ahead and left them a voicemail, let them know I'm here, and if they had any concerns to go ahead and give me a call. Now I had already paid online, which is how I generally set the reservation. Generally don't need to go into the office and check in, but they will give a parking pass. But so far, here it is. It's about 1 o'clock on Saturday. I haven't heard from anybody, and nobody's tried to come knock on the door, so I have no idea what's going on, but I'm here, so I guess that's all that matters. So I thought I'll go on a walk. It's about 87 degrees outside. It's been really humid over the past week, and I'll be honest, I've been pretty lazy. Went to bed last night in the RV probably around 10:30, watching some over-the-air TV, and had to run the air conditioner all night. And what I found with the air conditioner, in order to make it as peaceful as possible with the noise from the air conditioner, and it's running right now, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but I found to not run the air conditioner in the auto setting, but run the fan continuously and pick a speed, be it low, medium, or high. And that way, whenever the compressor kicks on, you really don't hear it. All you hear is the sound of the fan blowing air continuously throughout the night. So it really creates a white noise that's very consistent all night long. The first time I had slept with the air in the RV, I kept it on the auto setting, very similar to what I generally do at my house. And the problem with that is that the unit, every time it's on and off, which seems like every 10 minutes, it disrupts your sleep. So for anyone who has a small space RV, like a Class B Airstream Interstate, I think it's a good recommendation, depending on how you sleep. I sleep in the RV because of the sofa bed arrangement, not always as good as I'd like to, and so anything I can do to create a peaceful atmosphere, I'm definitely going to do. I'm also very sensitive to different temperature changes, and so I keep the thermostat in the RV at about 68, if not 67 degrees. I like it relatively cool, and I like to constantly feel the air blowing. And if I need to, I also have a plug-in USB fan that I ordered off of Amazon that I'll have a link to below. And I set that on the countertop in front of the side of the van where I sleep, and it does a great job just circulating the air directly in front of me. It also operates off of battery as well, if need be. It's not the most powerful fan, but it provides enough movement to, again, keep the air circulated to at least cool my face off. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready for a little walk. I'm going to turn the lights off. I'm going to keep the air running. I've currently got it set at about 70. Definitely want it cool when I come back. Actually, I probably want to grab a bottle of water. That one I need to fill up. Grab this one. And let's head out. Lock it. See some of the air conditioner condensation runoff. I don't know if you can see, it's just a fine little line running off from the air conditioner. If you've watched my other videos, I told you about the power cord. The original power cord that came with the Interstate was black, and I was having issues with the LED light flickering. So the LED light did not work correctly, and Airstream customer service was able to send me a new cord, which in my opinion is actually heavier duty and is a gray color, which I think is what they include with the travel trailers, and it may be what they include with the newer Interstates. So I went from a black cord to gray, heavier duty, and a much better LED that actually works. And there's my water connection with filter.
So last night, I thought it was interesting that pulling up to the park yesterday, and actually online, all campsites were reserved. So fortunately for this weekend, I was able to reserve the last campsite that was available. And when I arrived yesterday to the campground, there was a sign out, basically, no more camping vacancy. But I don't understand why probably a quarter of the campsites are not occupied. So that was interesting. Fortunately, the campsite directly next to me is not occupied, and the one next to that, so I've got some space between campers. And there is a camper on the other side of me. But again, it's been pretty quiet out here. So last night I was in the middle of a really good show that I had picked up over the air, and took a peek outside the window, and I thought it was odd because it looked like the reflection of a computer screen. And I was totally confused because I'm thinking, is it a reflection of my computer inside the RV? But I don't have my computer open, so what the heck is it? And it was pretty dark outside, so it's really hard trying to figure out what everything was. So I went to the front of the RV, peeked out the driver's side window, and I could kind of make out the shadow or outline of a car in the vacant campground next to me. And so I kept looking, and then finally I turned off all the lights inside of the RV and rolled up all the windows and looked out. And sure enough, it was a cop car. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Of course, of all nights, I haven't been out camping in a couple of months, and there's a cop car. So I'm like, great. Is there a manhunt? Is somebody escaped from prison and now they're running around the local campground? What the heck is going on? And then one by one, more cop cars start showing up. And so finally there were a total of 3 cop cars all parked directly in front of my campground. And I saw there were probably 6 cops that had walked up to that one cop car, parked directly in front of me, and they were all kind of talking. In the meantime, I was trying to download the police blotter to see if I could listen and find out anything that was going on. But eventually, probably within 10-15 minutes or so, they all pulled off. So I listened to a couple of the police scanners streaming online through an app that I found, and couldn't hear anything that was going on. So I have no idea what happened. I have no idea why the campground office was closed yesterday at 5 when they're normally open until 6. I'm like, am I just totally missing something? Should I not be here? Is there something crazy going on? Why are a quarter of the campsites not occupied when they're supposedly all sold? Which is really weird. Why they're all reserved, but people aren't here. So anyway, it was peaceful all night. I'm still here. Nobody came and attacked me, and it was just definitely odd. So have you guys had any scary situations in campgrounds? Definitely let me know. It automatically started making me think about what I possibly need to do to have some cameras outside. So you guys let me know what you think about any campground incidents that you've ever had. What should I be on the lookout for? It definitely frustrated me that the 3 cameras that the Airstream Interstate has are not really easily accessible. We have a rear view camera and 2 side view cameras, but you have to have the ignition on in order to view them in the monitor mounted on the front windshield. So I really wish that Airstream would adopt some form of technology where you could control a lot of the systems via an app on your phone and also view the cameras. But until then, it would be great if there was some sort of wireless battery operated camera that we could magnetically attach and detach to the outside of the Airstream, kind of similar to a Netgear Arlo. And they now have a Netgear Arlo Go, I think it's called, and I'll put a description to it below. And it actually communicates via either AT&T or Verizon service, so it is completely wireless and battery operated. So it might be a possible option. Of course, you would have to have signal with Verizon or AT&T. But check it out, let me know what you think, or if you have any other security tips and advice for situations in campgrounds when you're camping and want to keep an eye out for your surroundings. So I just got done walking around the lake here at the park, and there were a ton of baby toads all over the place. I'm surprised. I guess it's toad season. Who knew? So now I'm on another trail a little further away from the lake. It's a little narrower, and I don't see any baby toads here. But I'm wondering if we'll find any other creatures slithering across the trail. There's a lot of roots that look like they could be snakes, so I'm on the lookout. It seems like every time I go on a hike in the woods, especially at this time of year, I always find at least one. So stay tuned, we'll see. So no snakes so far, which is great, but good grief. Give me the air conditioning. Ow, jeez. I keep walking into like all these little cobwebs that are whacking me in the forehead. It's good to be out. I need to be more active. And next week I have an order of Green Chef coming. My plan is with Green Chef, I've got 3 meals and I've selected vegan. You can select from vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, paleo. There's I think like 5 different menu choices or dietary choices that you can choose from. And so I wanted to get back into cooking some vegan meals. They're always absolutely delicious because of the different seasonings and spices, and wanted to share that with you. So stay tuned. I'll start prepping some of those and sharing some of the menus with you. In the meantime, I've got a link to Green Chef below, and there's a link to save some money for you. Green Chef is a home delivery service for meals, and I've had them before, but honestly just got too lazy to prep all the meals. So I'm going to give it a go again and see how many meals I can maybe prep on a Saturday or a Sunday for the week. Since it's just me right now, each meal really serves 2 people, but since it's just me, it will probably make enough for about 4 servings. So I'll have some for lunch and leftovers, which will be great. So as I continue to sweat, I can't help but think of all of the beautiful destinations where I could be during the hot, humid summer months. That would be a lot more comfortable. Again, it's early July here in the Carolinas. It's about 90 degrees out. I'm in the shade, but it's just humid enough and I'm out of shape just enough that I'm already starting to sweat, and I should have brought my water with me, but I didn't feel like carrying more gear. And again, I'm super sensitive to temperature changes, which is why air conditioning in the van or travel trailer are extremely important to me. But let me know some of your favorite locations during the summer months that, let's assume I were able to travel and wasn't working an office job full time and could follow the weather or chase the weather. Where would you go right now that's nice and cool? Well, I tell you one thing that hiking and sweating and being hot and wishing I had brought my water makes me do is reflect a lot. And it's interesting that I just saw a beautiful red cardinal. Again, I'm in the Carolinas. In North Carolina, the cardinal is the state bird. But I have never seen so many cardinals in my entire life than I have over the past few years. My father passed away from brain cancer a few years ago after battling with that for a couple of years. Seeing the cardinal again was just a nice reminder that I guess the old saying is the cardinals are your loved ones checking up on you and seeing how you're doing, but never really looked into where that actually originated from. Got another cobweb in front of my face. So if you happen to know, definitely leave a comment below. Where does that come from? Why cardinals of any other bird? I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. The male red cardinal is just absolutely beautiful, and in my backyard I continually see the male red bird and male red cardinal and female red cardinal, and it's just a beautiful reminder of nature, but also makes me think about my dad. Some really pretty wild berries. I don't know if you can eat them or not, but they're really pretty. So this is definitely the time of year I wish I had a pool. I hate the heat. Absolutely hate it. And I wish there was a way with the interstate that we could keep it cool when not connected to power and without a very noisy, obnoxious generator. Maybe someday we'll have enough solar and lithium technology to be able to automate the cooling and ventilation. I'm at least glad that I can walk back to the interstate and that it will be a nice, cool, crisp 70 degrees. And I can rinse off and probably do a whole lot of nothing, which is sad because I need to be outside, but I'm already drenched, and that's not fun. At least the breeze from moving in the shade feels cool, which makes me not want to stop moving, so I guess that's motivation to stay active. So this local campground that I'm at's fairly small. It only has about 30 or so campsites. They all have water and power. They're all paved, which is really nice. For the most part, they're level. There's a great little lake that half the campsites back up to. And there's a couple of pull-throughs. I think there's one, maybe two full-service camp spots. What's nice, it's fairly shaded, a lot of trees, pretty quiet, with the exception of the 3 cop cars last night. Even though they were quiet, still have no idea what was going on. It's interesting because this week there's a lot of tents out. Again, these are all power and water sites, but a lot of tents. And you'll see here, this site, again, everything showed reserved, but there's a good number that nobody has actually showed up.
37 seconds per mile.
It is nice that the campground has restrooms with showers. They're pretty clean. Here's home. somehow, I got just enough gravel and it rubbed the back of my foot. That's nice. So I just got back from taking a hike here at the park and stepped on the bracket on the floor for the table mount, and I've never used this one up front. There's another one down in the back, which I've used a couple of times. This tabletop is made out of Corian. It's extremely heavy, and I'll be honest with you, I would have rather Airstream just left these things off and provided a fold-up table with maybe expandable legs that we could move around. And I get why, you know, we have a solid mount on the floor so that the table doesn't move around, but these things just get in the way. And personally, I would rather have the option of having them or not having them. Alright, so I might have talked too soon. I don't know if they know what they're doing. This is the campsite next to me. And I don't see a trailer, so they might be campers. They should have just backed in. They'll probably be tent campers. They look like they're trying to figure out what they want to do. We'll see. How in the hell? I'm sitting here watching these people who are trying to figure out what to do. Sitting in their van, it's hot, smoking, and the Joker just picked up a can of Bud Light. How do you do that? How do you drive around in a minivan with your cigarette and your can of Bud Light at a campground? Can you explain that? I still don't know what they're doing. I swear. I guess that's what camping's all about, right? Okay, so maybe they're not camping. Maybe it's a domestic conversation. And he's drinking his Bud again. I'm gonna turn the air off and crack the window open, see if we can hear anything. And he just flicked his cigarette out on the pavement. That's great. I can't hear anything. And he's on his second cigarette. Nothing against y'all that smoke. You just don't need to be flicking a cigarette out on the ground in a campground. It's freaking tacky. Alright, I'm turning the air back on because I'm trying to cool off. The great thing about having a camper is when you are outside and hot, you can come back and rinse off and you're in the air. And it's a fantastic thing. And actually, now that I think of it, this is July, and it was last 4th of July that I rented an Airstream Interstate lounge to try it out, and actually took it to the North Carolina mountains. And so I definitely put the Interstate through its paces, because the campground that I was able to find did not have any hookups. So it was pretty warm, and I ran the generator. See, that's what heat does. Makes me slur my words. And then I got Joker next to me smoking, drinking his Bud Light in his car. So, was able to take an Interstate lounge out and ran the generator, and it was a 2015 Interstate, And it's the same generator from the 2015 to my 2017. They're still loud. The generator makes more noise when you're on the inside of the interstate from all the rattling underneath the floor than the exhaust actually produces. And I'm still curious to see what a $40 resonator would do to the exhaust noise if we had one. But it really does need to be dampened somehow underneath the floor of the interstate, which I think they worked on for the 2018 model. I don't know how big of a difference it makes, but it definitely needs padded somehow. It's obnoxious running the generator. I personally hate it. And originally when I was shopping for a Class B, there was a Winnebago, I can't recall what model it is. I think it was like a B plus, not a B. It kind of looks like a big dolphin beluga whale on the front. Not the sleekest looking RV, but it was built on a Mercedes Sprinter chassis. And I tell you what, the inside was pretty sweet. It was all diesel generator, which was awesome. And the inside layout was fantastic. And I did like the fact that it was on the Sprinter chassis. They're just ugly. And I still think that's why I have such a hard time with RVs. I wish more manufacturers would make them look sleek, like your leisure travel vans. They do a great job. An RV does not have to look like a big fiberglass box, and that's where I appreciate what Airstream does with their travel trailers, what Leisure Travel does. Pleasure Way does a decent job. I just don't like their interior. I'd have to say the Leisure Travel, if I was looking for a B plus type van, they're absolutely gorgeous inside. I just really did not want a B plus, but of course my hope was that I'd be able to park the interstate in my driveway, and since the homeowner association was not having that, then I guess I could have got a Leisure Travel and been done with it and had more room on the inside. But still, my intent was traveling around. The interstate is less RV, it's easier to park, and at this point it really doesn't matter because I'm lucky to get it out once a month. And I think for me now during the summer months, which reminds me of when I rented the Interstate Lounge last summer, was that I absolutely hate the heat, but it was great being able to hike in the mountains and then hop into the shower in the parking lot. And I just wish there was a way to keep the air running, or that the chassis had remote start to at least start cooling the AC off. That's one thing I love about my Cadillac, is through the remote app I could start the car and it will start cooling it off. That would be amazing if I could remote start the generator or the chassis, the engine, and start cooling the unit off before I get back to it. That'd be pretty sweet. But also, if I had Spanky with me, there's no way I could keep Spanky in the interstate while it's parked unless I had the generator running, and I'm just not going to do that because I think it's obnoxious, and I honestly don't know what all of the local codes and ordinances are regarding running a generator enough to count on being able to do that everywhere I go. And on the flip side, finding propane, that's kind of a pain in the butt as well. It's a pain having to stop for the propane in order to run the generator, and I think you're only going to get in the interstate about 24 hours of use running the generator, and I don't think that 24 hours is running the AC the entire time. I'm not quite sure, but I think that was the last stat that I saw.
So my domestic dispute couple wound up not being domestically in dispute. They actually walked down by the pond holding hands and consumed another pack of cigarettes and case of beer. So all is well in life. I've got another couple next to me setting up the travel trailer, and I'm going to take it easy for the rest of the night, work on editing the video, watching some TV, and just enjoying the scenery. As always, if you guys like this video, please thumbs up, subscribe, leave some comments, and we'll see you next time. Take care.